Hi, my name is Evan Gaythorpe, and I did my project on artificial organs. So, artificial organs, they're man-made as opposed to grown or harvested, and they are implanted or integrated into a person's body so they can temporarily or permanently replace one of our natural organs so they can hopefully return to a normal life as soon as possible. So in the past, artificial organs haven't been able to really bring people back to a normal life. An example would be artificial arms. In the past, they would be strapped to your body through like a shoulder strap, and they would be controlled through various mechanical devices so that you could open and close your hand. It was relatively effective, but it wasn't as effective as, say, a hand and or easy to control. So, but nowadays we have electronic arms that can, well, they attach to your arm as opposed to being strapped on, and they are controlled through electrical signals sent from your body to your arm. And also, fun enough, the hands, they can actually rotate 360 degrees as opposed to what we are capable of. But despite this, there are still some limitations on the devices. For example, the prosthetic legs, they are effective at what they do, but they're not as multifunctional as our current legs. When it comes to the artificial legs, they're like running legs, climbing legs, swimming legs. So until there's more advancements into how to replicate our current legs, they are limited. And there's the challenge of the body rejecting the organs, especially when it comes to internal organs. There's the problem of adhesions forming on the inside of your body. And in addition, whenever there's a blood flow through the body, there's a chance the blood will clot. And if it's, especially if it's like an artificial heart, that's a huge problem. It could lead to death. So these artificial organs have had various positive impacts on society. For one, considering how much these devices have been improving over the centuries, it is considered that by the end of the century there will be potentially no more disabilities, and that we can cure them through the use of these devices. And so it is also considered that with more advancements into the capability of recording brain signals, that we can potentially give quadriplegics access to all four of their limbs again through the use of artificial arms and legs. Also, since improved healthcare has resulted in increased lifespan throughout the general population, and because of an increased lifespan there's less organ donations going around, these artificial organs can keep people alive long enough so that they can potentially receive these transplants, if not just permanently replace those organs. Perhaps one day we'll be able to replace our heart and lungs and not need to have a biological one put back in. Also, some of these devices are designed to be put in your body and then taken out again. They're only supposed to be used as a temporary relief. So they can currently be put in until the organ is fixed, or you get a replacement organ, and then they can be taken out again. Though, when fully fine, you might not have to take them out again. So there are possible negative impacts of artificial organs on our society. They haven't quite occurred yet, but say 20-30 years down the line they could. An example would be overpopulation. If artificial organs become advanced enough that they can start saving thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives, and we still have a pretty high birth rate, then we might eventually have an overpopulation issue and a decline of resources. Also, with the spread and the advancements, like what can be made into an artificial organ, there might become a point where people become mostly robotic. And a problem with that is that some philosophers are starting to ask questions such as how much can we replace in a human and them could still be considered a human? And that's all well and good if you're a philosopher, but it could lead to some type of bigotry against other people. You might get some sort of like purists, and it could lead to conflict. Also, the spread of artificial organs may lead people to think that they're so invincible, because if they lose a heart or lose a lung or lose a hand, they can just have it replaced. So it may lead to some type of recklessness in society where people start chain smoking, drinking all the time, and that could actually lead to more deaths or in greater harm. Also, as envisioned in some movies, it might lead to some type of like pseudo indentured servitude slavery, in that if prices of artificial organs are kept high, then people may be inclined to take out huge debts to obtain them so they can live. Most people probably will. And the idea is that these businesses could try to like retake the hearts if you don't pay up. So that would kind of lead to a pseudo slavery in which if you decline to keep paying, then you'll die. So society can impact this technology in multiple ways. One way would be, or one way currently is that through funding and research. So normally, researching into artificial organs isn't profitable, so businesses don't do it. And it has tended to fall into governments to fund this. So normally governments only fund artificial organs during and a little after periods of war and conflict because of injured veterans and whatever. So when wars die down, so too does funding for artificial organs. Also, we might have a case where businesses are keeping prices artificially high, limiting access to it, to otherwise accessible technology, such as through the use of 3D printing. We might be able to make this technology very cheap, but businesses might try to keep it high. Also, we have to deal with the possibility of regulation of this technology, because in the future it might be possible to have, say, better lungs than what are humanly possible, or better legs, or better arms. So when it comes to sports and other jobs, there might be regulations so that you can't just like get your legs cut off so you can have artificial legs so you can run faster. And there might also be regulations on the capabilities of these organs, say for lungs, for carrying oxygen to your blood to be at normal human levels as opposed to superhuman, if you're going to compete in sports, for example. Alright, that's it for my video. I hope I was able to teach you something about artificial organs. Good luck.